Hey, Mike.
Hi, Heather. Nice to see you again.
Good to see you. Is that the live long and prosper hand thing that you're doing? You know I can't do that. I'm so envious when you
And
do
I
that.
love to rub it in every time.
How are you? What's new with you? What have you
So
been
I
up to the
believe that
last?
you extend the thumb to do live long and prosper, and you put it in if it's nanu nanu, right?
Oh, that's good to know. Okay. Oh, I have no idea if you're asking me if that's correct or not.
Well, you would know at least if it's correct about Spock, wouldn't you?
Yeah, the thumbs out.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. It's been a while. So
What's new? What have you been
great to be
doing?
back. So let's see. Our last live stream was on September 8th. So that was like a month and a half ago. So the reason I didn't do one for a long time was mainly because I went to Europe for 3 weeks.
Oh
So you
my
might
God.
so you might ask, where in Europe did I go? I spent 2 weeks of it in France and 2 days in Monaco and 1 week in southern Germany. And I had a
That's
good time. Unfortunately, didn't do anything really adventurous other than trying to climb the highest mountain in Germany. But it was a good trip, and
I would say that's pretty adventurous.
the highest mountain in Germany, if you hike it in the summer, is not that difficult. I tried to hike it at on October 2nd, I believe, when it was already the top was covered in snow and ice, and I didn't bring the appropriate equipment. And I won't bore you with the whole story, but I only got about 2/3 of the way and then turned back.
Two
But
thirds is pretty good with no equipment.
well, it was a 20-mile day, but it was an easy 20 miles. Um, But I do hope to return and not only climb the Zugspitze, the highest mountain in Germany, but also Mont Blanc, the highest mountain in France.
I would be happy with 1 mile. And you're like, oh, yeah, easy 20 miles. We're
Well,
good.
I know that you could do much more than one. Um, yeah,
uh,
and then after the trip, then there was G2E. That's why I couldn't do it last week. So yeah, but here we are, and you might wonder what I'm wearing.
yeah,
So
Jedi.
I kind of forgot it was Halloween, but you reminded me at just the last moment. So this is what I wore to Burning Man, and I
Oh,
don't know
let's get a
exactly what this is supposed to be. Um, I was kind of going for kind of like a Jesus or a monk kind of a look, and this is what my friend made for me. And I made this belt myself, and it is what it is. You can, a lot of people thought I looked like a Jedi. A lot of people said a wizard. Um, so, but this is just one of my main Burning Man outfit.
Can I see you say, thou shalt not pass from Lord of the Rings?
I'm thou shalt not pass, but I don't know Lord of the Rings all that well, so I'm not
Oh,
trying to go for Gandalf or anything like that.
gotcha. I gotcha. Well, I really like your new glasses too, by the way.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now that we're getting some people in, now that we have some viewers, if you guys are watching, if you have a question that you want to ask Michael, please put it in the chat. We will go through the questions in the order that they are received. And I have trivia questions. So, do you want to get started with that, or do you
Let's
want
start with the
to?
trivia question.
Okay, so we are doing Halloween trivia. Um, So, who is the actor who played Dr. Frankenfert in the movie The Rocky Horror Picture Show? No.
No clue
So
for me. Maybe somebody
if
else
you
knows it.
if you guys know, put the answer in the chat. I bring up movies because I don't know about you guys. In fact, you could put this in the chat if you want. Every Halloween, I love watching Halloween movies, and Rocky Horror Picture Show is one of the movies. It's just, you have to watch it. It's just a requirement, in my opinion.
It's on my bucket list to see that at an
You
actual
haven't
midnight
seen
showing
it?
in a real theater.
Oh, okay.
And I
They
want
have those in Las Vegas.
They
Like they
do?
have those scheduled. I know the Huntridge used to have them, but the Huntridge is what's torn down or not working, or they used to.
Yeah, I've seen it on video, and I thought, what is so great about this movie? But everyone says it's an audience participation thing, and you need to see it in a big group, preferably with people that are dressed up and they throw cards and whatever else you're supposed to do.
I love those audience participation shows.
Well, if anyone hears of a midnight showing in Vegas, let me know.
Okay. And shall we go on to our first gambling question of the day?
Yes.
Okay. So this comes from Technics. Does poorly shuffled hand shuffles benefit the casino? Seems to me that poorly shuffled shoes, low large clumped together, might be a tactic for the casino to raise their house edge.
I have never been asked that before. And, my answer, I don't like to say this, but I just don't know. I've never studied it.
Can I add some info?
Sure.
Cool. So when dealers are taught how to shuffle a deck, they are taught how to lace. If they don't lace, it's called chunking, which is sections of the deck that aren't shuffled. And the problem with this is there are cheaters who track the deck where they have a good spot or a good, section where they know what cards are coming out. And if the dealer doesn't shuffle it properly, they can determine what the next cards are coming out based on the previous shoe. So it's really important for dealers to shuffle and riffle in a way where it is laced. The casinos don't want to raise their house edge because a high house edge game means high volatility, which isn't good for the players. It's not good for the casino. So they really like their games to be at a low house edge. You don't agree?
Two disagreements.
Okay,
one,
go for it.
All shuffle tracking and advantage play, not cheating.
Oh, sorry.
You're entitled to your opinion, but I feel that if the dealer's doing a sloppy shuffle and the players can track cards through it, that is the dealer's fault.
There are several advantage moves that casinos do consider to be cheating, even though they are not cheating maneuvers. And sometimes when referring to them, they refer to it as cheating. But that doesn't mean it's cheating. You're absolutely right.
Okay. And secondly, I think casinos like a high house edge. Otherwise, how do you explain 6-5 blackjack and 000 roulette? And now at least one casino has ultimate Texas Hold'em where you can only raise 3 times pre-flop. So I
explain that by greed. They want more money. The problem is after a certain percentage, it starts to backfire on the casinos where the players are losing so much money. They just don't want to play anymore. So the sweet spot is about 1% to 4%. That's where you want the game to be. 7% could be about, you could go as high as 7%. When it starts getting into the 13% range, it gets a little bit iffy. If it's in the 20 to 30% range, the casino's like, no way, I don't want anything to do with this.
Well, I agree there is a sweet spot. And but in general, you see house advantages going up. And I think the casinos like to set them as high as they can up until the point where they start driving away players. They're so high.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay,
shall we see who has the answer to the trivia question?
Yes.
Okay, so we have a winner. I can't even say that, but they said Tim Curry, and Tim Curry is correct. He did play that person, so great job. This one's a fun one. Is a pumpkin a fruit or is it a vegetable? So if you guys know the answer to that, put that in the chat.
Okay, I'm going to write something.
Okay. Oh, that's an interesting guess. Okay, let me see. Oh, you are incorrect.
Shoot.
Yeah. Okay, so as we are
Okay,
waiting,
let me give a second guess then.
if our viewers aren't allowed a second guess, you're not allowed a second guess.
Well, okay, I'll just say that my first guess was that it wasn't either one. But if you limit me to a fruit or a vegetable, I just texted my choice.
Okay, well, you are correct on your second choice.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so let's check out our next question from our viewers. And this is from Paul. Paul says, homelessness seems to be quite apparent to tourists downtown and on the strip. How apparent is it to locals when enjoying parks and other local hangouts? This is a great question.
You know, I see them quite a bit on bike paths and tunnels. So they're definitely out there. And you see them in wealthy areas too, panhandling at intersections. So yeah, so they're definitely apparent, you know, all over Vegas, the nice parts and the bad parts.
Yeah, I completely agree. It seems to be more towards the central one and less in the outer skirts, but you still see it in the outer skirts. I walk my dog in parks and we go to like a different park every day. And every single park I see homeless people. And they're either sleeping in the children's play center thingy, or they are panhandling, or they're just sitting under a tree. But they're always around.
Yeah, the park closest to my house where I used to go to boot camp, there has been the same guy basically living there probably for at least 2 years. And, you know,
it got worse after.
He never bothers people. He just sits there all day long.
It got worse after COVID. And if you're driving up Summerlin Parkway and you get to the very end of Summerlin Parkway, now there's just RVs. Like there's just rows, like a row of RVs and people that are sitting there. Summerlin Parkway, very end, where it used to stop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, they're extending the Summerlin Parkway, and Vegas is moving even further west. So I haven't seen the RVs, but anyway, enough on that.
Okay. So the answer to the trivia question, let's see what you guys said over here. Now, is pumpkin a fruit or a vegetable? And sorry about that. Matt Delaney was the one that got it first, and he said fruit. And you are absolutely correct. It is a fruit.
Yeah, I initially thought it was a gourd, like a separate thing. And I'm still not saying it's not a gourd, but if you limit it to fruit or vegetable, I got fruit too, because it's on a vine.
Yeah. And it has seeds.
I've always wondered why there even are pumpkins, because they're not especially pleasant to eat.
You don't like pumpkin seeds?
You know, it's not worth the trouble of like separating them from all the other pumpkin goo. So no, I'm not crazy about pumpkin seeds.
Do you carve a pumpkin?
Oh yeah, I always carve the pie symbol in it, and I call it pumpkin pie.
Oh, that's awesome.
Anyone who compliments that when they trick or treat at my house gets double candy.
Oh, nice. Do you give out the baby candy, the normal size candy, or the king size candy?
Regular.
The regular size candy? That's a good size candy.
You know, just like at Costco, they have those bags of the little candies, and yep, that's what I give out. That's what's available to me.
Awesome. Okay, so our next trivia question is, Transylvania is a region in which country?
Okay. Am I right?
Yep, you are right.
Yay.
You got that right. Okay, so while we were waiting for everyone to answer in the comments, let's see what your next question is. I have to go back up here. There we go. So Jean asks, what is your guys' take on the Adelstein Lou cheating brouhaha? I think Garrett just couldn't handle losing to a woman who poorly played her hand but still won.
Well, there's a big discussion about this on my website. I mean, a really big discussion, and people have very passionate opinions about it. And I haven't studied it well enough to have an opinion, so I'm going to just pass on that one.
Okay, I have no idea either, so I have nothing good to add to that. Okay, so our next one is from Yes Notes. What is your favorite slot Vulture game right now?
I like Cashman Bingo. Why do I like it more than the others? I just find it fun, and it's the first one that I analyze, so I feel I know it well, and so that's my answer. I wouldn't mind finding a hex breaker in a nice, good condition and playing that for hours until the middle reel goes back down. But I haven't seen that opportunity yet, so I'm going with Cashman Bingo.
Very awesome. And I am not a slot person, love table games, not a slot person. So I cannot answer that.
By the way, sorry to interrupt you.
You're good.
So the second edition of my book is sold out.
Oh, nice. Congrats.
But the third edition is going to have a whole new chapter on slot machines, including how to vulture about 10 different slot machines. So I'm excited for that to come out. It always takes a long time, but I think this is going to be the first time that a published book is going to touch on this topic in depth. So when it finally comes out, version 3, and be sure to you might consider buying it, even if you already have versions 1 and 2, because it's going to have some great stuff on slot machines.
Do you have an estimated time of arrival?
It's kind of out of my hands now because I wrote the chapter probably like 2 months ago. And Huntington Press, my publisher, as much as I like them, nobody ever accused them of being fast. So, I really hate to throw out a date, but, if forced, probably early 2023.
Okay, but otherwise, join our live streams, watch us. We'll tell you when it's out. We'll give you notification.
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, so the answer to the trivia question, where is Transylvania? Jean got it. It is in Romania. So congratulations, Jean. You get the point. Woo. Okay, so our next question is, Halloween has its origins from an ancient Celtic festival. I'm just going to butcher all words. What is the festival's name? So Halloween has its origins in an ancient Celtic festival. What is that name?
This is going to be just a guess.
If you know, put it in the chat. Or if you have a question for Mike, please put that in the chat as well. No, that's not it, Mike.
Shoot.
That is incorrect. Okay, and even though I have the answers and I'm looking at them and I know, I actually know the answer to this one, I felt very good about that. Okay, so our next trivia question while we were waiting comes from Paul. In craps by bets, what are good bet amounts to make when you consider rounding the vig, and how does that change if the vig is taken up front?
Let me turn off this phone. Sorry.
Someone's very interested in contacting you.
How do I turn this off? Lower the volume. That's not helping.
We'll
I
stop
only
in a
get
second.
junk calls on that phone line. I don't know why I keep that number. Okay. So I don't actually play a lot of craps, but with buy bets, I think it's typically on the 4 and the 10 that you do those. So if you have to prepay the commission, then you should bet the 4 and the 10 in increments of 21. But I have heard that if you bet 25, they only charge the 5%. They only charge you $1, which is like paying a 4% commission. Now I'm not so. So if the commission is only paid on a win, I would bet $25. And I do not know if, like, let's say you bet 50, is the commission now $2? That I'm not sure. I probably should know, but I don't. And if the commission is always paid, then yeah, like I said, I think they expect you to bet in increments of 21. And that's about as far as I can take that. Probably not the best answer I ever gave.
Well, I honestly can't do any better. I used to know this information when I dealt craps, and I haven't had to think about it in so long. I'm like, what was the answer to that? I know it's good on some of them. Some numbers it's good to bet even. Some numbers it's good to bet odd, that type of a thing. I just can't remember well enough to give you a good answer.
Okay.
So Wolf says there really should be a Wizard of Oz costume.
There should be. And somebody gave me a wizard hat once. That was kind of like a Wizard of Oz thing. But, what can I say? If someone gave me one, when would I get a chance to wear it? Maybe on this broadcast. But, it's, I never claimed to like be a real wizard. Wizard of Oz was always just a play on words from the Wizard of Oz, and
I love that.
Never, took it that seriously.
Okay, so the answer to the trivia question, we had one person answer it right. Everyone thought it was All Hallows Eve, but that is not the correct answer. The correct answer is Samhain. And that person with the name that I can't pronounce, I'll just call you Grace. You got it right. Congratulations.
So what's Samhain?
Samhain was a Celtic festival. It probably means All Hallows Eve. I don't remember what it means, but it was replaced by Halloween decades later. Okay, so our next trivia question is, out of which vegetables were jack-o'-lanterns originally made? So if you guys know the answer, put it in the chat. If you have a question for Mike, please put it in the chat as well.
Vegetables, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, I just don't know.
I thought you would know this. I am so surprised you don't know this.
But then I go, that's a fruit.
My answer is strawberries.
Well, strawberry is not a fruit. I mean, it's a fruit. And you said
it is a fruit.
Yeah, I just don't know.
Okay. So if you guys know, put it in the chat. And while we are waiting, we have a question now. I don't normally do this, but we are going out of order. This question is from Anne. Hi, Anne. Good to see you. And she wants to know, what is our favorite Halloween candy and why?
I like Reese's peanut butter cups. I think it's that yin and yang of the sweetness of the chocolate and the saltiness of the peanut butter. And I love the texture of them. And what can I say? You like what you like. The big drawback to Reese's peanut butter cups is they melt at such a low temperature. And here in Vegas, if you buy one in the summer, you have to eat it immediately because it's going to melt.
Sometimes I'll put it in the freezer, not for too long where it's rock hard, but just long enough that it's like nice and cold.
Yeah, but but let's say that you go to a gas station in July and buy one, and then you walk to your car to eat it, and by the time you're sitting in your car, it's melted.
I've put it in my back pocket before. Like I bought Reese's peanut butter and put it in my back pocket and forgot about it, and then sat down in my car. That wasn't good.
Okay, so what's your favorite candy?
I love Starburst. Starburst is my favorite candy. It's gluten-free. I use it as a breath mint because I don't like breath mints, but I love Starburst and it does the same thing. So,
okay.
Yep.
Good old Starbursts.
Very good.
I can't buy those because I will just eat them one after the other.
I try to eat one at a time. I only have one per day. Once, that's it. If I do more, I'm in trouble.
Well, you have a lot of willpower. If you gave me a bag of Starbursts, they would be gone. I would eat them at like one every 5 minutes.
Okay, so our real gambling question, comes from Damien. And Damien says, do casino sports booths only offer betting on American sports, such as baseball or American football, etc., or do they offer British football betting as well?
They absolutely offer soccer. In fact, isn't the World Cup coming up? Because I saw a lot of soccer bets at the Wynn the other day. And I don't think that you're going to see British soccer in a sports book here. I'm not going to say that nobody has that, but I don't think it would get enough action here for them to fuss with it. However, let me see if I can find this. Where did I put that?
I swear he really looks like a Jedi.
No, that's not it. Yeah, here it is. I don't know why I keep this up here. Okay. So that COVID came out right around St. Patrick's Day 2020. And this 2 days before the casinos closed here, I went to the Suncoast to play bingo, hoping that there wouldn't be much competition. And while I was there, I went to the sports book just to see if there was anything to bet on, because just days before, they shut down every basketball game, which was the big sport in March. And the only thing you could bet on was one soccer game in Turkey, and two teams I, of course, had never heard of. So I bet on the underdog and I lost. I don't know why I keep this ticket. I guess this is kind of a reminder.
Let's see it one more time.
I'm sorry?
Let's see it one more time.
Sure.
There we go. Suncoast is good.
But yeah, that is my answer on that one.
Very cool. Okay, so let's see if anyone got the trivia question. And we do have a winner. Our winner is, where was it? There we go. Grace got it again. Congratulations. You guessed correctly. It is turnips. We used to do jack-o'-lanterns on turnips before we started doing them on pumpkins.
I thought turnips were too small, but shows you what I know.
I think pumpkins are too small sometimes. This was hard. Okay. So our next trivia question is, every Halloween, Charlie Brown helps his friend Linus wait for who to appear?
Oh, this I know for sure.
Okay, so put that in the chat while we were waiting. Yes, you're correct, Mike.
That was an
Nice.
easy one.
Yeah. I have to sprinkle some easy ones in there. Okay, so while we are waiting, our next question is, drum roll, please. So Paul says, am I generally better off betting a single line on a high denomination slot than all of the lines on that same slot machine that's a penny denomination?
In general, you're better off betting one line at a high denomination because, and you can see this at the Nevada Gaming Control Board website, the return to player goes up as the denomination goes up. And I've seen this myself, is sometimes if there was a multi-denomination video slot, that the return did go up at the higher denominations. It doesn't always, but as a rule of thumb, you are better off playing the higher denomination game.
Awesome. And since that was the short question, let's do another one. James says, what does the next 5 years look like for the Wizard of Oz? Is there going to be new content?
Well, I would like to think that there's always new content. I have really written a lot of stuff since I got back from Germany. Just yesterday, I published a page about Ultimate Texas Hold'em if the player can only raise 3 times pre-flop, and another game called Daredevil Poker, and I know there was something else. I am sorry. Let me just unplug this phone.
The old days when you used to have to unplug a phone.
And I think I need to put this outside.
That might do it.
That's a fashion solution. Yeah, what was I talking about?
So new content, what does the next 5 years look like for you?
Yeah, well, there's new content coming on the Wizard of Oz all the time. That is part of my job, is to write new content for the site. And but you asked about the next 5 years. I'm currently, I don't think that I may have mentioned this in public before, but I'm currently 57, and
You don't look it.
Well, thank you. And my youngest kid is 16, and we're going to finally have an empty nest in 2.5 years. So depending upon the economy, I am kind of thinking of retiring at the age of 60 in May of 2025. It's just kind of a soft goal, and but I'm not going to do this forever, and so that's just kind of a soft goal of mine. Now, recently I have lost a lot of money in the stock market, as a lot of people have, but hopefully it's going to come back. But if it doesn't, I'm going to have to push that back, because I'm kind of hoping, it's kind of my goal to have a certain nest egg before I feel comfortable retiring. So there is my answer to that one.
What do you want to do after you retire?
I want to travel and do adventures, and I want to do things like, bike across America, bike across New Zealand.
Wow.
I want to kayak the whole Lake Powell, bike all over Europe, climb mountains all over the place. So I really need to do all that stuff before I get too old. So I think, like, between the ages of 60 and my late 60s somewhere, I'm going to be really busy living life before I get too old to do the adventures that I want to do.
Well, I hope to God you still put out pictures and videos so we can join you in your adventures.
Oh, of course. And when I retire, I'm probably going to leave most of the gambling stuff behind, but it's just a hobby. I'm really going to probably make more videos of mathematical related content. And I really would like to improve my website about mathproblems.info, and give that a whole new look and add new material to that. And I really would like to I think two hobbies of mine is really going to be putting out some kind of math content and magic. Um,
Oh, yay.
so
I
yeah,
want to see your magic.
it's hard to convey this on this live broadcast, but I've been really into magic lately, and um, yeah, so I'm gonna keep working on that.
I would love to see a YouTube channel where you just do magic.
You know, I really want to make some YouTube videos where I do magic. And one time I hired a girl to do magic tricks too, and I recorded everything. And I was just hated the outcome of that.
Oh,
You know, when I see a video of myself, I only see the flaws, and I was just really disappointed with myself how it all came out. So, you know, a big problem with magic is you need a subject to do it to, and you can't do the same trick to the same person twice. So magic is a hard thing to practice when you don't have people to do magic to, and I tend to see the same faces every single day.
well, that's a very good point. Maybe we need to get you to set up in a theater downtown, so that way you can have like a little audience of people, like brand new people.
Well, that would be really nice, but you have to rent out these theaters, and you know, I have thought about sometimes I will just go to the park and just do magic for strangers.
I love that.
So yeah. Anyway,
Okay.
Anyway, let's go on to a new question.
So the next question is from, here we go. It's from JM. Where do you see smoking policies in casinos going in the next 5 years?
I think they're going to stay basically the same and continue to permit it. Unfortunately for me, yeah, I just don't see that changing.
No. Okay, so let's see who got the answer to the trivia question. We have a winner, and that winner is Jean, who said the Great Pumpkin. So you are absolutely correct.
Yes, I love that whole Great Pumpkin storyline, by the way. I thought it was a great analogy to religion in general, and stressing out about whether you have enough faith for the Great Pumpkin to pick your pumpkin patch. And I remember I think it was a Charlie Brown Halloween special, Linus was explaining it to Sally, and he said, and if the Great Pumpkin comes, and then he caught himself saying if, and then he was just like so angry at himself for saying if, and you could just tell that the Great Pumpkin was not going to come give him any gifts because he said if, and his faith was not strong enough.
Oh,
so I feel so sorry.
I love that. Yeah, but it's a really great movie. Okay, so our next trivia question is, which phobia, or name that phobia where you have an intense fear of Halloween? And I'll give you guys a hint. It has to do, we've already covered it with one of our trivia questions. Like we've already covered half of the name with one of our trivia questions.
Yeah, I just don't know.
So if you guys know, put that in the chat. Until then, our next question comes from Wolf. Real quick, which flavor of Starburst? I love fruit punch. I can't get enough of fruit punch.
I like the green one. Is that lime?
I've never tasted the green one.
It's green apple.
I don't think I've tasted it. Yeah, I don't think I have.
Imagining it, but I thought there was a green flavor.
Well, they have a lot of flavors, and I have not tried all of them. So, okay. So our next question comes from GM. Ooh, I get 2 in a row. Sorry about that. Okay. Does the Blackjack payout affect the tips that the dealers can expect on average? No, unless the dealer has a tip out for them and they get a Blackjack, then the dealer gets paid 6 to 5, just like the player gets paid 6 to 5. Otherwise, it does not affect the dealer's tips. Our next one is from Jean. How common are server-based slots in Las Vegas casinos? Or are casinos still mostly using EPROM chipped games?
All right, let me explain what this question means for those who may not understand it. So EPROM stands for, I think, electrical. Something about like electronic program read-only memory, something like that. But what it stands for is not important. With your typical slot machine, if the slot manager wants to increase or decrease the return, he just takes out a chip in the machine and puts in a different chip. And this different chip will be set to a whole different RTP. You know, for example, in video poker, if he wants to change it from 9-6 jacks to 8-5 jacks, all he has to do is take out one chip, put in another one. And but now with server-based slots, you don't even have to do that. It can all be done remotely from somewhere else in the casino. And I know that I think they did a trial of this at the Treasure Island. And I think the Pachanga in California did it. But it's been a while since I've heard this topic brought up. So I think that it's still fairly new, and I cannot tell you a list of who's doing it and who's not, but I tend to think EPROM chips are still what the vast majority of casinos are doing.
Would the progressive jackpots that you see on table games be be considered server-based?
Can you repeat the question?
The progressive jackpots on table games, would that be considered server-based, or is that just something totally different since it's not a slot machine?
Totally different. I'm sure that there's electronics in that machine that determine how fast the progressive grows and whatnot. But that's just a different topic.
Gotcha. Okay, so our next question comes from Wunshun Ling, and again, I'm sure I mispronounced that. I'm so sorry. Can the 126 automatic shuffling smart machine made by Shuffle Master be preset or pre-programmed by casinos to cheat players in blackjack?
I would, if you forced to a yes or no answer, I would say no. These things have to get approved by the Gaming Control Board, and I do not think they would take kindly to any kind of a cheating setting, even if the casinos promise not to use it. And and furthermore, there's just so many myths and conspiracy theories about how casinos cheat that aren't true. And I've heard of the tables lots of times. Those players will say, "Oh, these shuffling machines are programmed to cheat you," and nowhere ever provides any evidence other than adjectives. So yeah, I highly doubt that they can do that.
Yeah, and as a casino dealer, I've never seen a casino cheat. It's not in their best interest.
Yep.
Okay, so the answer to the trivia question, let's see if anyone got the answer to that. Let's see if anyone even answered, because I don't see any answers. No one even guessed. No one even tried. Okay. So the answer to the trivia question, which phobia do you have an intense fear of Halloween? It's Samhainophobia. So we talked about Samhain. Just put O and phobia behind it, and that is the answer to the question. Okay. What is Dracula's real name?
Somewhere I've heard this.
So if you guys know, put that in the chat. I think we are running out of time to answer questions. So if you put a question in now, we might not be able to get to it. Are you ready for your next gambling question?
Yes.
Okay. Daniel says, where is it worthwhile to play blackjack and video poker in Vegas?
Yeah, that's quite a big question. Lots of places still do have well, let me just throw this out there. I really like the South Point. They have all 3-2 blackjack. They have quite generous video poker. I think every machine is going to have something over 99%. Just across the board, they have liberal, good rules. And not only that, but the casino is really quite nice and everything is reasonably priced. And there's other stuff to do besides gambling. I know it's not in the best location, pretty far south of the Strip, but I want to use this opportunity to put in a good plug for the South Point for their good gambling rules.
Fantastic. Our next question comes from Lilac. And Lilac says, can you please talk about any strategies for the fish table arcade games and possibly how lines and denominations and number of bullets equates to slots?
Do you know what a fish table arcade game is?
Oh, I was just thinking it was a G2E. There's a table at G2E where you fish, and that's the first thing that popped in my head.
Yeah, frankly, I don't understand the question, and even if I did, I don't think I would have an answer. So,
sorry, Lilac.
Stumped on that one.
Okay, our next question comes from STSTST. How do you prefer finding game odds, Excel or a different programming language?
I like C++. That's what I analyze most games in most games can be programmed by just looping and logical statements. If the game is simple enough, like a dice game or Keno, I'll do it in Excel. But most of the time there's some kind of an effective removal, especially with card games. So then I need to code it. So, yep.
Okay. And we have one last question before we take a look and see what the answer to the trivia question is. This is from Paul. What are your thoughts on rock, paper, scissors? And I have to play you a game before we go on to the trivia answer.
Okay. Yeah, it's funny you ask that because there is a game at the Circuit right now of rock, paper, scissors. And if you win, then there's a prize wheel. And if there's a tie, then the prize is increment. And I've been meaning to check that out. And I also, I like to pose math problems on my Wizard of Vegas forum. And there is a scene in The Big Bang Theory called the Lizard Spock expansion, where they play rock, paper, scissors, but they add Spock, which they represent like this, and a lizard, which they represent like that. So I got to wondering, what total number of symbols can you play rock, paper, scissors with? And I got into a big discussion about that, and I explained how to do it with a prime number of numbers of symbols or totals of symbols. But basically you want to stay away from even numbers. And so those are some immediate thoughts. But I read that when your opponent just won the last hand, he's more inclined to throw the same symbol again. So let's say that I threw scissors and you threw rock. So you would have won. So you would probably be inclined to be happy with rock, in which case I would throw paper. Or the way I might think about that is I might throw what my previous symbol would beat. And I've also heard the opposite, that if the last thing your opponent played lost, then they're more inclined to switch. So let's say that I played paper and you played rock. You would have lost. So you probably would switch to either scissors or paper, in which case I might play scissors, because I'm either going to tie your scissors or cut your paper. And there's a whole paper about this. I'm not just pulling this out of thin air. Somebody studied like thousands and thousands of games of rock, paper, scissors, and that was their conclusion.
Well, what do you say? Best 2 out of 3?
Okay, so are we going to throw on scissors or right after scissors?
Right after.
Okay. Here we go.
Rock, paper, scissors. I can't. Oh, okay. There we go.
Yeah, you won.
Okay.
This time, let's try to do it more in sync. Okay.
Ready?
Rock, paper, scissors, throw. Okay, one.
Okay, you got
Okay,
that one.
okay, here's the tiebreaker.
Okay.
Rock, paper, scissors, tie. Rock, paper, scissors, throw. Smash!
Ha!
I
You
win.
Okay, awesome. Okay, let's see who answered that trivia question, and then we will answer more gambling questions. And the trivia was Dracula. What was Dracula's name? So let's see
I
if
just don't know
anyone got
that.
that. You'll know it when you hear it. You'll be like, why did I know?
I know this is in my head somewhere, but I just can't retrieve it.
Yeah. Okay, we got one. Let me make sure there's no more. Oh, we do. You need to get the whole name. You can't do just one or the other. You need to get the whole name. So the answer to the trivia question is Vlad the Impaler. And Gene got that. Vlad the Impaler.
Good job, Gene. That rings a bell. Vlad the Impaler. Isn't that a good sounding name too?
And some people said Vlad. You can't do that because you could be talking about the, Russian, Vladimir.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just say Impaler because you have to do Vlad the Impaler. Okay, so here we go. Next one. Dracula. What does that mean? What does the name Dracula mean? So if you know, put that in the chat. And while we're waiting for an answer. Okay. Jean asked a question. It is for me. Sorry. How skilled do card dealers get in stacking the deck and false shuffling and other nefarious tricks? How often are dealers caught doing this on a live game? It's not common. Some casino dealers do this, but if they do it like in the, let's say if they're on break and they do it in the dealer's lounge, and one of the bosses sees it, he could be fired because they're just like, that's not cool. That's not okay. If you're into magic, the casinos don't want to hire you. Any hint or suggestion that you could do that, the casinos don't want that dealer in their casino.
Yeah, okay. I don't know too much about it. I know a guy who was a cheating dealer back in the 80s and early 90s, and he did it for several years and never got caught. And but he got out of it like just when he kind of felt the heat coming on.
Yeah. Our next question is from Anne. Love Anne. What are your thoughts on the new developments about to take place on the Strip by Golden Nugget owner Tillman Fertitta?
I don't. To be honest, I haven't been keeping up with it. I'm not sure what these new developments are.
Okay.
So no answer from me.
Okay. So let's go to another question. And some of these questions, just so you guys know, I am skipping. That's only because we've already answered them. Our next one is from... Is that Phlegathon? What do you think?
Did you know this has a hood, by the way?
You could be a character from Assassin's Creed, the video game. Just saying.
Okay.
I was at a Vancouver casino that had a CSM for Blackjack, but a 2-deck discard tray and a full deck was dealt out. Is the casino's discard tray a fake, and was there actually 6 to 8 decks in the CSM, continuous shuffle machine? So does the continuous shuffle machine have 6 to 8 decks while the discard is only like 2 decks?
So they would. Yeah, well, I will say that if the casino does have, say, a 6-deck continuous shuffler machine, they don't have to put the cards back in after every hand. They can deal out like a whole deck and then put in that whole pile. And frankly, I don't know why I don't know why everybody doesn't do that, because I think it would save a little bit of time. And I could also see some players getting fooled, like the dealer deals out a deck and then puts it back in, and players might incorrectly assume there was only one deck. But what was the question?
So if they have like a 2-deck like discard rack, can they have like 6 or 8 decks in the continuous shuffle
Yeah, I would
machine?
say the answer is yes.
Yeah. And for the person who asked that question, you are allowed to ask the dealer how many decks they're using. That's not
Yeah, I
secretive
ask that all
information.
the time.
Yeah, there's no secret to that. They can tell you and it's not a big deal. Okay, so our next question is from Ram. I am a huge fan of your programming tutorials. I saw your 3-card poker one, but can you please do one for Ultimate Texas Hold'em?
Thank you. I get so few compliments on those. But yeah, I have made some videos on how to analyze games, and including how to program a game like 3-card poker. It gets very low number of views, which is why I don't make many. So UTH, it's funny you bring this up, because just this week I redid my program to make it so it only dealed, the player could only raise 3x pre-flop. And UTH is definitely more complicated than 3-card poker because there are 3 different decision points. But I will keep that in mind. By the way, speaking of UTH, if I didn't implement any shortcuts in that game, it would take my computer like a month to cycle through everything. But rather than going through every possible, I think there's 1,326 ways to choose 2 cards out of 52, but there's really only 169 different types of ways you can deal 2 out of 52. So you can cut down that 1,326 down to 169. That saves a lot of time. And yeah, I will mentally add that to my list of possible project ideas.
Awesome. I love that. And Dirty said the whole thing with your phone, that's a perfect start to a horror movie. So I thought that was hilarious and just wanted to
I like
point that out. Our next question is, who is your current favorite magician?
That's a good question. I like to recommend Frederic Silva, who does the paranormal show at Bally's. You may have not have heard of him because it's a rather small showroom, and he's definitely not one of the biggest names, but I think it's a very high energy show. He really cares about it. There's a lot of audience participation. The energy is really high. There's a big emphasis on mentalism, which is my favorite type of magic. So I highly recommend the paranormal show. Now, am I going to go so far as to say it's better than, say, David Copperfield? I would never go that far, but I think in terms of value for your money, it's the best value in Vegas because the show tickets are not that expensive. They even come up on House Seats, which is a free ticket website sometimes. And yeah, so I'm going to go with Frederic Silva.
Awesome. I love that. Okay, so let us see who has the answer to this trivia question. And I am not seeing anyone. A lot of people put in nonsense words. Son of the Dragon, I like that. Son of Dracul. A pain in the neck, that's hilarious. Impaler, nope. So one person said it's Dracul, not Dracula. So My apologies. I do not see an answer to this, and you didn't know either what Dracula meant, right?
Nope.
Okay. So the answer to the trivia question was son of the devil. Son of the devil. So some people were close. Yeah, we had a few close answers. It's 4 o'clock or 3. I can't do math.
Yep,
it's 4 o'clock right now.
Time, so it's been an hour.
Do you want to answer any more questions, or you want to end it there?
No, let's end it here. Unless you had any trivia you were burning to ask.
No, I got all that out of the way.
Okay. Well, thank you everybody for your questions and your participation.
Thank you.
So, how
When is
about
the next
November 3rd
time?
for our next live stream?
Say that again.
How about November 3rd for the next time?
Can we do the one after that? The
Okay.
Thursday after that?
Sure, that would be November 10th.
Perfect. So November 10th.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, it was great seeing you again.
Yeah, nice to see you. And thanks, audience,
Totally.
again for coming, especially after that long recess between shows.
And we hope everyone has a great Halloween. Like, have fun, get dressed up, enjoy yourselves. Don't eat too much candy.
Amen to that. Halloween is one of my favorite holidays because it's just about having fun and it doesn't take itself too seriously. And there's no religious overtones and it's not a big patriotic thing. It's just about fun. So yep, one of my favorites. I would say my top 3 holidays are Halloween, New Year's Eve, and Thanksgiving.
I like those. I think those are good picks. I have to agree with you on that. You're welcome. Okay, happy
guys.
Halloween.
All right. Bye.
Bye.